Hey guys, welcome to the arena, the everyday stage for New York's brightest talent. This is in collaboration with Click Clique, ELYSIUM, and Alive Nation, where brilliance is built under pressure and we are the training room for the latest stars. Today we have Cassius King, to grace us as one of the first Olympians within the Discord channel, as well as the community. We will be going through a bit of his work, talking through some of his creative process, where he draws inspiration from, and also get into some beat making. Awesome. Well, thank you. Cash. Let's take a step back. As a person who may be interested in becoming a producer, they love making beats, they love music. What was the first kind of recommendation or advice you'd have for them in getting into it?
I would say always make what makes you happy. You can't get too caught up in trying to make what's popular, following trends and stuff like that, because music always changes. If you're following trends, it'll be harder to stay relevant. Now everybody's on to the next thing.
Well, it's very interesting because you also grew up around a lot of music and you pull in inspiration from that. What are some of the hits that your family always played? Like, what were your go-to? I know my dad loved Charlie Wilson randomly, and he would always play that on vacations. And I'm like, this is inappropriate, but that's what I grew up with: R&B, Atlanta, hip hop, all of that. But you're from Connecticut, correct?
Yeah.
What do they have in Connecticut?
It's not really necessarily a go-to in Connecticut, but I would say I grew up listening to a lot of Uncle Charlie. My mom liked Michael Jackson. Both of my parents loved Michael Jackson. A lot of Michael Jackson. My mom was a big fan of Shantae Moore, Cameo, a lot. My dad was a DJ, so I've heard a lot of different types of music growing up.
How did he get into that world?
It started with him and his brothers. They would throw parties, and that's how he got into it. As the youngest brother, he had to be the DJ. That's pretty much it.
And who would you say are some of your top influences or artists that you turn to when you need that inspiration?
Timbaland,
Oh,
Pharrell,
yes.
Swizz Beatz, Kanye. I would probably say Kanye the most because I just love sampling. And that's Kanye was like sampling really heavy and especially when he first came out. And with my dad being a DJ, having all those records, I had samples for days. It was like,
all areas. I love that you said Kanye because listening to your latest album, that was my first reaction. I was like, this is Kanye. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind your album. I know that we talked and you had said it was mainly from a fashion shoot perspective or like modeling.
So I became close with some of the members in the Click Clique, Zeus in particular. At the time, being the only music person in the group, because it was mostly like models, photographers, and designers, I wanted to make myself of use or service to the group. And I just figured the best way I could do that was to make music for the models to walk to. That's how that album came about.
And when you think about that concept of them walking and thinking about producing a track, what are some of the key elements or things to consider, things that you may have thought through in your process? Speed, duration, kicks, rhythm, like how did you, because I mean, how do you modeling and all of that? You're stepping into a whole new world. I'd love to know how you kind of bridge the gap.
It was definitely a new world to me with no modeling experience, but the main thing was
You could walk, but
right.
you're like a moment, you're like, walk, okay, I can do that.
But yeah, I would say the main thing was the rhythm and just going back, listening to it, and just like, is this too fast to walk to? Is it too slow to walk to? Because I was finding myself, I'm making the beats. I'm just thinking like,
up and down, up and down.
Because I'm like, if it's too fast for me to walk to, then I don't like it as much. Or it won't be really suited for fashion shows. You know what I mean? So it has to be in a certain tempo because nobody wants to speed walk.
I was going to say, I feel like you're kind of helping them feel comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So if they're walking the runway and they have to go a little bit faster than usual, that's going to throw off their own flow and rhythm.
Right.
Oh, I love it. You want to make the
natural, because if they have to walk too fast or if the beat is too slow, it kind of takes away from how they're taught to walk. So I just wanted to keep it good in relation to how the models have to walk for the fashion shows.
Fashion's an area I'm not familiar with, but I love Runway. I think it's historically, it's always been a place where the models were not relevant. It was the clothing.
Right.
But then as soon as we started having more diverse faces and bodies, the models now became a statement. Designers are now going specifically to a person because of their vibe. And I think it's beautiful that music is also a very huge part of that. I know that I need to listen to music to feel that, to channel that, feeling confident and comfortable in my body. A persona comes on as I'm walking. And so when you're kind of building out these tracks, were you kind of envisioning any sort of like embodied, like a persona or a type of person, like a model like Iman, Giselle? I don't even know models. I know other models on the stage. Naomi.
Yeah, like Tyra.
I really.
I wouldn't say necessarily certain models per se, but certain looks, types of clothing. I just try to think about all the fashion shows I've seen or heard of and specific sounds that would fit different looks.
For me, it's so funny because listening to them, I just got jungle. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like we were just in a jungle. And it was like they're going through, and then you would add different elements and sounds in it. So, which one out of all of the tracks do you find to be your favorite or your go-to?
I would say probably between two, maybe three, but I would say Catwalk Dreams, Lux and Lagos, which is like the jungle one, and the outro was to the album Walking Like You Own It. Actually, the first one I made.
Really? Do you find that whenever you're creating an album, that you outline a whole set of songs that you want to do or tracks, or is it more like you create and then assemble and then that's how you build it out?
I was producing, making the beats. Once I got to a number where I felt like this is enough, I got to 11 songs total. After that, that was when I got on the whiteboard and I would listen to them and what would sound better. What was started with the intro, but then after that, what sounds better after the next song? Does this song sound good in between these two? There's a lot of moving around. I changed the order quite a few times, honestly.
Did you feel like when you were putting it together, you would imagine a whole runway show from start to finish, or was it more the flow of the individual tracks leading into one another?
I thought of different shows, honestly.
Different vibes.
Yeah, pretty much one song per show, just different.
Whoa! So 11 different shows?
Yeah, 11 different shows or 11 different designers. There's Front Row Feelings. To me, that one was like what I envisioned when I made that one was like Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Let me go on Spotify. I was just gonna say it would be so great to hear else is happening. The first, which one was it?
Feelings. The Ox.
Oh, yeah. I'll play it tonight because I just wanted to hear it. It's
Yeah, this one definitely was like Victoria's Secret fashion show. That's what I had in mind when it started to come together.
I love it.
It's a vibe I got from.
I love it. Something I think we talked about earlier, you pull a lot of different inspiration from everyday sounds, things that we would hear. How would you, I'm just imagining like you're cooking or something and you hear a ding, you're like, hey, cool. Like, what's your process like when you hear that song? Is it more like you log it for later? How does that flow through you?
I would say mentally I do. I constantly think about music. Anything I hear, music is sound. So any sound I hear, it's like that would sound good with this, or like even birds, like birds chirping, they have their own rhythm. It's like you hear it, and then your mind, if you were to loop it, that's the start of a beat right there. That's pretty much how I use everyday sounds, just hearing stuff and constantly creating. Also, like when we spoke about me having to take that break,
Yeah.
the whole time I wasn't actually making music, I was still gathering ideas and stuff like that. The ideas can come from anything.
What was the most odd place you were at where you were like, wait a minute? And then for me, I usually get the best ideas like when I'm in the shower, where like all of a sudden I hear a random melody in my head.
I would say probably just travels to and from work or going different places on the train. When I hear somebody laugh, the way they laugh is
Like my first now you have to watch out for leaving voicemails because people could use that.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me my laugh could potentially be used.
Even hearing people walking upstairs, everything has its own rhythm. If you were to loop it, that's the beginning of a beat right there.
I love that. And you had mentioned about taking a break. I know that music is your love, but you also, again, have a life, obligations, family to take care of. So, kind of to walk us through your journey around making sure that you're good, but also not losing sight of music.
It's just about delegating time. It is a challenge to not, because when you have an idea, it's like, I gotta run it, I gotta do it now. But being an adult comes with responsibility, so I just have to give that time. When you go to work, you work for your 8 hours or however many hours you work. It's the same thing. If you're working and doing school, you have to give it a certain amount of time out of your day. So I just try to delegate a certain amount of time for music, and that's try not to go over, try not to go under. And but it's challenging, but it works. You know, it works.
I love it. I know that sometimes life gets a little too serious. And then I'm like, my music kind of either slows down where I either escape into it. It's
Yep.
either one or the other. How do you balance that? I think my big thing is I find that if I'm not working towards music, I'm not feeling as alive. But you also talked about using life as inspiration constantly. And that's a beautiful thing where your mind's still in the music world, even though it's doing its everyday job. Like, walk us through that.
So pretty much, like I said, delegating time. But when I do go in there, I have just different feelings, different emotions. Whatever I'm feeling that day is 9 times out of 10 how the music will come out. So it's like, you know, if I'm having a good day or even a bad day, you can probably tell how I'm feeling by listening to it.
I remember trying to do a beat every day, and then one week I was depressed. I was like, damn, I'm so sad. I love it. I guess some of the things that I would love to know when it comes to the creative process and making beats, is there a specific part where you're excited to dive into, or is it more just the overall feeling of being in that space?
It's the overall feeling.
How do you pull yourself out of it? Because I know I can sometimes look at this my laptop and next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m.
Honestly, I don't know how to pull myself out of it. I usually get pulled out of it.
But it's very real.
Because there's times where I'll be, like, I've gotten home from work, jump straight on the computer, and then next thing I know, we could go back to work.
Did you have dinner? Did you have lunch?
Yeah, I mean, I take breaks and stuff out and eat, but it's hard to step away.
And guess how would you describe that connection to music that you have? You know, you've gotten such an early experience and exposure to it. Like, what does that mean to you?
I would say music has just become a part of who I am, really. It's like it's a pretty deep connection because I don't really do anything without listening to music.
100%.
So, yeah, it's been a part of everything. When I eat, take a shower, on the way to work, while I'm at work, even going to things like basketball games, movies, there's not too many things that don't involve music.
It's a good point. Wow, I love that. And so when it comes to, I know that, you know, talking a bit more about that space away from music, did you feel as though you were still using inspiration day to day? I guess walking through kind of that hesitation of like, why not jump back in? Or was it, you know, what were some of the blocks you experienced after kind of just like what happened?
Really, it
You
was
don't mind
space.
sharing what happened.
It was, all right, from the beginning, There was a break-in attempt. Somebody tried to break into the house and I packed up the studio. I thought they were trying to break in for, and I packed it up and, took it to a safe place. But from there, I just never had the space to set up the studio again. And for a while, I kind of refused to buy equipment that was a smaller space because why buy new equipment when I have a whole studio? But
your environment is super important to you.
right.
And I think from my experience, it's not only the environment, but you have an attachment to everything, right? And so starting new while also maybe downsizing what you want is very frustrating. So I get that.
It's very frustrating. And then also just knew I didn't want to have to buy the equipment I already had, but also I didn't want to learn new programs and new equipment either because I had spent so much time learning the stuff that I had. Starting over, I almost felt like I'd rather not do it at all rather than start over.
That's a very real thing because it's also so intuitive. I think like a lot of that process, especially early on, is like, yes, you could do all the YouTube videos and all of that, but you have your own process. It's very automatic. It becomes instinctual for you at a point. So having to go through that experience and then the labor of getting a new thing, it's a lot to do to get to that place. I totally get it. And so what was the trigger where you're like, okay, I'm going to go back and get it, or I'm going to go back and get some music?
Akai, the brand I use most of my equipment, they came out with an
Okay.
MPC like this big,
Mm-hmm.
and I use it with my laptop pretty much. And then also they have the MPC software for the computer because I was using just the actual MPC. Pretty much like the beat machine with the pads. It's a sampler, sequencer, pretty much one machine that does everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they came out with a smaller one,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw it, and it was like between that and the computer program, that's everything I had in the studio. So I was like, you know what? Now I can do it again.
Oh, I love it. It's so interesting. It's again, it goes back to your relationship to it, right? If it was another brand, you wouldn't want to done it, but they came out just at the right time with the right programming, software good to go. Oh, I love when that just happened. And so when you kind of got back into it, what is something that maybe you realized then, or something that just was like, oh, I forgot about this?
I mean, it has a lot of new features that I didn't have.
Oh, I know, like your own experience getting back into music.
Oh, getting back into it, it was very slow at first because it's like, all right, now I would finally have everything, but am I really ready to start again? It's like I would compare it to, I don't know, shouldn't say riding a bike, but something that you knew how to do for so long, but then you haven't done it. And now when it's time to do it again, it's like I'm so rusty now. Am I really ready to start doing it again? But
Yeah.
how well just came together.
I don't know why when you were just saying that, the first thing that popped in my head was like a car crash. Not in a bad way, but more like, it's something
Like
that
it's-
it's
it's
so
striking.
yeah, you're just
Right.
like, it's very natural, right? You don't really think about each time you get on the wheel. And then that happens, you're like, whoa,
That is true.
right? And you're like taking a step back. I mean, I haven't gotten in an accident, but I've ran over a few sidewalks and curbs. And so my boyfriend has fell off a couple of times. Oh my God, I was driving. I did get in an accident in a Chick-fil-A drive-through. But that was because I was cutting a corner and the food fell and then I went right into the corner. I couldn't go back to that Chick-fil-A and I couldn't drive here a few weeks because it was so, it's like not embarrassed, but I was just like, damn, how did I not catch that? How did I not, that's on me.
I've been in an accident before. I ran into somebody a long time ago. I'm a better driver now, I promise. Oh, it wasn't bad. Nobody was hurt. It was a love tap. Everybody's okay. Going forward from that accident, I give myself so much space. It's pretty much the same thing with this. It's like I had to stop. And in the beginning, it was like, you don't want to try to overdo it because then you'll get frustrated and you might just stop. I didn't want to frustrate myself, so I was just easing into it. After a while, they're like,
Shake back naturally.
yeah.
I love that. It's like muscle memory.
Right.
That's all I did. So when you think about easing back, because I know for me, when it came to DJing, I picked it up during COVID. It was 2020, and I have crazy stories. I started DJing because I was broken up with a week before COVID happened, and then my ex went out of the country, and I was like, "What's happening?" And at the time, I lived with four medical students who were never home, but now because of COVID, all the clinicals were canceled. So they were all home, and all of them had long term boyfriends. So all of their boyfriends moved in. So it was me nine wheeling in my own home, and the world shut down, and I didn't know what was happening, and I was in the worst of places. They would just be all having dinner and they're like, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "No, thanks. I'm over here getting over a heartbreak." They're all happily married. Oh my goodness. So happy for them. But that's when I really was like, I'm going to lose it. I have to go choose something. And at the time I had moved to Chicago and house music was my first time there and I picked it up, but life went back to normal-ish, right? And I feel like that went to the wayside for me until I went through another bout of depression, and then I picked it back up. And then as I eased myself into it, one thing that I focused on was my process, like actually documenting it. Not necessarily like documenting it physically, but before it was more for the fun and the love of it, where now I'm like, no, this is something I really want to commit to
Right.
and see something there because I went back and refelt that version of me back then and just documenting those mental notes. Like, this is my little system, my way of doing it. I know when we were talking, something I love was I reverse engineer whenever I'm thinking of creating a track. I don't ever start from scratch. DJing has been helpful for me to see the flows and the transitions. How do you kind of reverse engineer a track? You pull from a lot of samples.
Yeah, so I sample a lot, but what I try to do is I started at a young age in the school band playing the drums. A lot of the sampling that I do, I would find a sample that I like to make a melody, and then from there I would sort of attack it as a drummer. And that was still is my process. So it's like I was typically melody first and then I had the drums last. That's like the icing on the cake to me.
For me, I find a sample and then I find, because I play the clarinet, I need some sort of wind instrument, something to add some spice to it. Then I go back and add the drums, the kicks, the bass, and then I go from there. With that, we should transition into making a beat, right? Amazing.